I got my coffee though.
Unprepared.
Already had mine.
She's already had her coffee.
Of course, I'm always unprepared.
I'm cut off. No more.
All right, so normally what we do, this is behind the curtains kind of stuff. Usually right here, we wait for people to start showing up.
Did you tag?
If you want, do you have your phone with you right now?
Yeah.
You got your phone? Cool.
I'm good. I'm gonna watch us.
I'm surprised I didn't say, do you want to tag Sally? Because I didn't. The funny thing is I always tag Luke, and I always tag Sally. Yeah. Marisa, there we go. Marisa's on there. Good morning, Marisa. All right, we'll get started. Welcome to Luke and Rory, you guys. Tyson, good to see you on here this morning, buddy. We are...
Here we go. She's going to give us the Rory and Luke.
Yep.
Again, I'm an afterthought. I'm an afterthought to Marisa.
C-Dub, good morning, Christian. Good morning. Go Cougs, right, Christian?
Jeremiah, good morning, buddy. Good to see you on here,
Jennifer,
man.
good to see you.
Been a couple weeks since we've seen Jeremiah.
Morning.
I know.
Trip.
What's going on, Jimmy?
Lee,
good to see you.
Hi.
I didn't even have my first drink of coffee and I'm already excited.
Yeah. Jimmy's on here.
All right.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, as you guys can see, we are in our old stomping grounds of Anthem Coffee today.
The old studio.
Yep, the old studio. This is our office today. But our office is going to be somewhere else next week, and we'll share that with you guys a little bit later.
Exciting stuff.
As you guys can see, we have a special guest today. Christian, goodbye. Goodbye, Christian.
Come here, Christian. It's okay.
Marissa says, I have to be extra nice to Rory and Luke. He gives me sushi. That's right.
That's
right. Luke did want to come, though. Luke did want to come.
I did want to come.
Janet. Hi, Janet.
Also, I don't believe in buying people's love. It has to come organically.
You know what? I don't think Marissa has a problem with that.
Hey, I'll bribe. I'm not proud. I'll bribe.
I want a relationship built on trust and respect.
See, all I had to do was text Jimmy and Marissa sushi, and they were there.
Oh,
so.
man. Trappers
we
on
ate
my
way
way.
too much. Yeah, went to Trappers.
Jody.
You eating too much at Trappers?
I know.
Weird.
I didn't eat for 21 hours.
First time we go to Trappers, I have to roll Rory to the car after.
Why didn't you eat for 21 hours?
Well, one, I'm doing intermittent fasting, but two, I knew I was going to be going to Trappers and eat like a pig. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just stretch this out as long as possible.
Our love came before the sushi. Jimmy, it's getting weird, I'm not going to lie.
Kathy.
I will let Rory buy my love every day.
Christian. Apple cup. All right.
Kathy. Now where is Kathy
Gee,
at
I
today?
wonder.
Hi, Kathy.
Janet.
Good morning, Janet.
Wow, big group.
So Christian was one of our youth pastors
you.
growing up, and he's a big Husky fan, so we have to give him
Oh,
a
yeah, so's my husband.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I mean, Christian is like
We all have our faults.
Yeah,
he's
we
a
do.
husky nerd.
Not me. I'm a
I mean,
Spartan.
he'll wear the whole garb. I mean, he's worse than me on football day.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But
I mean, I look like that on the Apple Cup day, but every other day,
But does he look good in purple?
no.
Okay.
No.
That,
You can't even wear purple around Rory. I come in like a purple shirt on. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
So
just a shade of purple. It's not a...
My husband.
Hey, hi, husband. So I had to get my wife a new cell phone last night because Ryan had broken the other one a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah.
The screen was broken. Well, it
The
finally,
video game incident.
Yeah. So it finally went out. She accidentally dropped
Morning,
it
Katie.
in the sink.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't that. It wasn't
Accidentally.
secure. Yeah, accidentally. Yeah. So I had to go get her
Darn.
new phone. And when I went to go pick her up a cell phone cover, I said, they got all these covers here, but you can't have a purple one.
But you can bedazzle it in purple.
If Rory shows up to heaven someday and God has a purple robe on, he's going to turn around and be like, you know what, hell is crimson. I'm out of here.
We have a crimson truck parked in our driveway. That was the graduation
I love
present.
it.
Older, not a new one.
love it.
NASA send a polar language and students explain the random bright spots. Jeez, Jimmy, you're it's a little heavy.
I haven't even had 3 sips yet, buddy.
Okay, relay that to my husband who reads like Smithsonian and all those magazines. Discover.
Husband, can you please answer Jimmy?
We
Yeah.
need to attack the question.
answer that, Brian.
Well, I already said it, but I'll say it again. Welcome to our special guest, Sally Brandle.
Brandle. You got it.
Is that
Brandle.
right? And we're going to talk about some current events. Oh gosh.
We're going to talk about it, Christian. We're going to talk
Sorry,
about it.
Sally, you're now off the show.
Yeah, I'm a Spartan. I'm a Spartan.
Your husband has ruined
I'm
it.
against the dogs when they play. He's on my thing.
Husband, you're fired.
He is soiling your account. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple current event things, and then we're going to get into what Sally's got going on. So let's go ahead, and of course, as always, you guys, bring your questions, unless they're questions like Jimmy's where we can't decipher it. then we're gonna have to wait till next week. Jimmy, you're done. I hope your sushi makes you sick.
We just realized how much smarter Jimmy is than us.
Or can't we call from the audience or something?
Oh, yeah. I like use a lifeline.
Yeah, lifeline. I haven't had enough coffee.
Phone a friend.
Yeah, phone a friend. That's it.
Better yet, go Tigers. Yes, Jimmy is from.
There we go.
Which I gave him a hard time.
From the Bayou.
He's from the Bayou. I asked him, why didn't your team score any points last week?
Who dat? Yeah. He's a who dat guy.
Oh yeah, he's the Saints guy too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm here, you know.
Kathy who?
She's trying to remain inconspicuous back there.
She's hiding.
All right. Well, let's get to the hot topic at hand.
Oh, got Anthony on here. Good.
Anthony's
morning,
watching,
buddy.
And
Anthony.
I'll share some news with you guys about Anthony this afternoon. Not this afternoon.
There goes Christian.
Before the end of the show.
He's on a roll.
I'm not
we'll
smart.
Get there,
Don't
PC.
tell people that
we'll
lie.
Accidents.
Yeah. Who dat? All right.
So of course we had the big midterm elections. Dane is on here.
The Dane train.
Yep. We had the big midterm elections on Tuesday.
Thank God that's over with.
And as always, you know what happened the day after the elections?
We're still here.
The world went on.
We're still here.
We're all still here. We're still drinking
friends.
coffee. We still have jobs. We still have houses to sell. We still have books to write.
Yeah.
We still have
Absolutely.
families to love. We still have friends to hang out with.
Some of us.
Well, that's true.
I'm only here by proxy.
So,
Yeah, the world went on.
yeah. So in case you hadn't heard, the Democrats, they took over the House of Representatives over Washington, D.C. The Republicans, they actually kept control of the Senate, added a couple
Actually
more
gained
senators.
ground, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means there's gridlock. We're now going to have gridlock in Washington, D.C. for the
Nothing
next
will
2
get
years.
done, which is good for business.
It's excellent for business. The market
Interest rates
loves
will
it.
stay.
That's right.
Bye.
And as a matter of fact, I just read this morning that the S&P and the Dow both snagged their biggest day after midterm gain since the 1982 election.
Wow.
There you go.
The market loves a gridlocked Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
The rest of us hate it.
We love it when nothing can get done.
Well,
So I think really the only thing that's going to get done is we might see something about drug prices. Because I think that's something that both Democrats and Republicans can agree on.
Oh, yeah.
Drug prices are just
they're crazy.
high.
Absolutely crazy.
So what's the difference between like an EpiPen in Canada and here? It's like a $500 difference.
Right.
At least.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Saves a life.
We just switched insurances. My husband just retired in April, and so we went from Boeing has fabulous insurance, but we went to the Boeing retirement plan.
Yeah.
And everything used to be $4. You know, $4 every. We don't have a lot of ailments, but my asthma kicked in, so I needed 2 inhalers, and instead of being $8, it was $50, and I'm like, that's nuts. That's a quarter piece of equipment. But
See, and the one thing that made me mad years and years and years ago when everybody was talking about doing the Affordable
Universal
Healthcare Act,
Healthcare,
all that kind of stuff.
Obamacare.
What made me mad, it wasn't so much Obamacare, it was everybody was missing the boat here. It was the prices.
Yeah.
It wasn't the healthcare coverage, it was the prices.
Yeah.
If the prices were affordable, some people could go without getting healthcare.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well, it's,
$50 for an asthma thing?
yeah.
Come on.
That's the thing, and it's always been, I've been attacked many times where we've had this discussion, like, oh, you don't want people to have healthcare. No. I don't want, that's not it. I just want it to truly be affordable.
Right.
Having a universal healthcare system is important for a country such as ourselves, like a first world country. I get that. But when we went to the new plan and my insurance rates went up, and then last year I had that hospital stay, and it's like I pay how much in insurance every year, and then they still bill me $25,000.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I paying insurance for? Who's this affordable for? I mean, it's just...
Well, and I'm sorry, but if you look at the insurance company buildings, they are beautiful, gorgeous. There's a lot of money being made, but we are a society where we value making money. So, are you going to put qualifiers on that?
Yeah.
How many 401ks have an insurance company of some kind in their portfolio?
Right.
And what's the point of the insurance company? To make money.
Absolutely, they're for profit. Let's face it.
Yep.
Kathy
So-
says Aflac.
Hey, I wonder why Kathy said Aflac.
Yay, we got you in there,
Morning,
Kathy.
So a couple initiatives locally that we had some results on. We had the carbon
Hotspot.
tax initiative. That failed, 5644. Prevent local governments from taxing groceries, the soda pop initiative. That actually passed. That was a little confusing, but it passed. I wonder if that's why it passed. Cause it was confusing.
That's usually what their job is. Let's see.
Confused.
Yeah, let's write this so it seems like it's the other way around so we can get the result we want.
Right, exactly. I actually had to look at it twice when I was filling in my ballot. I'm like, did I? Okay.
Yeah, that was one I had to do some digging on, before I.
Yeah. And then we've got the new gun regulations passed 60 to 40, and the police officer accountability passed 59 to 41. I'm sure we all have a lot to say about something.
I have a lot.
I have a lot to say.
I will defer.
Let's let the guests go. Let's let Sally go. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can choose any or all of them.
Well, I'm going to start with the carbon tax one, and there is a wonderful website, co2foundation.org, and the only reason I know about this is some friends of ours, their daughter is working for that foundation, and it's started by a university professor who is very worried about if you look at emissions as dripping into a sink. So we're helping to shut off electric cars and solar power and all that, but we've got a big sink full of crap that we've put up in the ozone since the industrial age started. Yeah. And how do you drain that? And so this co2foundation.org, this university professor has actually looked at how do you start pulling the CO2 out of the atmosphere, because it's a very thin shell that's protecting us, the ozone, when you look at it. And everybody's worried about what's still going up there, but there's trillions of tons of junk that we've done. And so that group...
Good morning, Amy.
Morning, Amy. So he has a giant plankton farms in the ocean scenario.
Oh, wow.
And it's very interesting. And the only reason I've learned about it is because the person that is working for him comes up from Oregon and she stays at our house.
Oh, okay.
And then she goes into Seattle and works with him. He's a retired man, and he has no agenda. He's retired, he's financially well off, he's perfectly happy handing that off to somebody else, but we have to do something about extracting what's already up there.
Yeah.
And so,
morning, Matthew.
I'm all about watching the current regulations, but I think we have to take a look at that. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Hey, what's going on, Matt? Good to see you.
Morning, buddy.
Hey, there he is, Colt Fairley, right there.
If it was I thought the whole bill in general, I was really unsure where to go with it. To be honest, I'm completely 100% behind the whole global warming thing. Like, something needs to be done about the environment. I'm really pro-environment, which blows a lot of people away. We've had this discussion before.
Yep.
And so I honestly didn't. I tell everyone, I say. We had this discussion a couple weeks ago. I say, if you're going to vote, make sure you're educated and make sure you know what you're voting on. I left that one blank because I just couldn't sort it out enough, and I felt like I didn't have enough information because I didn't have time to get information. Blame it on myself. But I thought, I don't want to vote one way or the other unless I feel 100% confident what I'm doing.
Very intelligent.
But I do think that something needs to be done about oil and gas companies and where their hands are and where those pockets are. And we have to do something about the state of our climate, and is it with the carbon, and is it with all those things, is that tax, is that a possible solution? Then that needs to be looked at, obviously.
Well, the other interesting thing is I wrote a second series of books that have kind of a science lean, and so I have a solar power zealot as the bad guy in one, and so I started looking at solar power generating, and that's not an end all either, because where do you store all that excess? And we don't have the battery system. So when you start getting into it, there's more issues than what you just think, oh, go solar, go wind. But unless you have, hydroelectric ways to, go up and down when you want, but we do have to start thinking about it.
It has to be considered.
I think you nailed it on the head there. There's a documentary, I think, on Netflix that talks about that. Trying to build that next...
The batteries. We saw that.
Yep. And that's it's a great insight into solar power is great, hydropower is great, all these things are great, but if we don't have a way to safely store that energy, we're wasting our time.
I am afraid what does bother me is
let's see, Matt says, can we cap volcanoes? The damn thing.
We'll get on that.
The darn things
have been putting crap in our atmosphere.
We'll get a crack team on that.
Well, here's the thing. I voted no on it.
Yeah.
And the reason I voted no on it, it wasn't because of what they were doing. It was because of the accountability and the responsibility on the back end. And I'm always concerned when there's an organization put in place that basically has free reign to do with whatever they want with the fees that people have to pay.
Yeah.
And there was no accountability. I didn't like how there was no accountability in there to hold them responsible. I like the idea. I love the spirit of that initiative, but without that accountability, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. If they could put some kind of accountability in there that would make me feel better about doing this, then absolutely. Absolutely.
To go along with what Jimmy's talking about there, the director, James Cameron, who directed Titanic,
Right.
all those. He's big on the whole environment stuff
Kimberly.
and where the pollution's coming from. And I saw an interview with him and his wife last week, and he was saying, and this is really interesting, I think, is that the American diet itself, the American diet, is extremely responsible. It needs to be held in higher responsibility for the state of our climate because of food processing.
I believe it.
If we were to eat clean, and I can't remember the stats again, I need to look them up because it's really interesting, but basically what we're putting into our air through the processing of foods and unnatural processing of foods is a huge deal. And if we would eliminate that and go back to eating a cleaner, more raw diet the way our bodies are intended, it would put a huge dent. Yeah.
Well, and animal production, I mean, I am not totally vegetarian. I do eat a lot of vegetable oriented, but cattle production it's bad on the environment all the way around, and I think we have to start really looking at those factors too. And nut production, it's like 55 gallons of water for a walnut. This is an example, but we really have to start taking. In fact, I just read something where peanuts, it's like 3 gallons of water for a peanut, which seems excessive also, but it's a lot better than what the big tree nuts are. So everything adds in there. Well, and I have little spots all over my face, so the ozone thing, I grew up in Michigan, kind of rural Michigan, and they've done studies because of Chicago and Detroit and all the General Motors plants and all the steel plants back there. The ozone is actually thinner over Michigan.
Oh, wow.
And so the ozone layer and this, the carbon tax, that it kind of has a personal thing for me.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's something that we need to address, that's for sure. And whether it's this bill or something down the road, it has to be a focus.
And I do agree about the accountability. We did vote for it, but there were some questions. You just hope that the people that are behind it will be responsible and accountable. And
that's the
but
problem.
you're not voting on them, so it's,
I have no faith in our government.
sad.
I have zero faith. Not when I hear them say we need more tax money. We need more tax money.
That was like
more
the,
tax money. I'm like, oh come on.
It ended up passing, I think, but that's the thing.
Nick, good to see you, buddy.
Hi, man.
Nick, hey, while you're on, bud, got your card. We got your guys' card and your gift card. Honestly, thank you so much. Very touched. We have something going out in the mail for you guys as well. Your family means a ton to us. Thank you so much. Hope you guys are loving Wyoming. We're on our way. We'll be there soon. So.
Wyoming.
We got this Wyoming.
Yeah, good friends of mine. We helped them sell their house in Buckley not too long ago, and they moved to Wyoming. And beautiful out there, just
It is.
God's country. And so, yeah, that's Nick, and him and his wife Ashley I kind of grew up with, and so they have an extra room. And actually, they said Ashley told me that they bought a bed, a twin bed, but an extra long.
Extra long? Yeah. I was gonna say, do they really like you? They really like you.
What can I do, honey? I have to go.
He's like, it's a twin, but it's extra long. I was like, yes, all
What-
right.
I was lucky enough to go to the TA Guest Ranch in Wyoming for a couple days, really early on before their season opened, and it's beautiful. You go on these hills, you ride up onto these hills, and they show you where the Native Americans would watch for the wagon trains to come through down below following the river.
Oh, wow.
And there are still like the medicine wheel rocks up there, the
yeah.
formation.
Oh, wow.
It's
I'll
gorgeous.
have to check that. That would be really cool to see. That would be. Yeah, I just did Yellowstone in June, Wyoming Yellowstone area for 10 days. Beautiful. That was my first time there.
I used to work a lot in Montana, training people. And
Oh, really?
Amber, good morning, Amber. Good to see you on here.
Well, let's
Should we talk about the?
talk about 1639. Shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Sally, how do you feel
Elephant in the
about the gun measure?
Okay, so I'm living with a son that wants to be a policeman.
Yep.
And I had actually voted for it, and then he said, would you please listen to my arguments? And yes, he kind of had a change of, he really read the regulations, because what bothered him is he's a very responsible gun owner.
Yep.
And he was worried that should somebody steal guns out of our house, even though we have them locked in a safe, blah, blah, blah. But what he said was, when he actually read further, he believes that you have 5 days to report if a gun's been stolen.
Yes.
And once you do that, you will not be held accountable if somebody does something nefarious with them.
Okay.
So potentially, if he had read that before, we would have changed. I grew up in Michigan with hunters. I saw those deer hanging in the garage. I am not in favor of the AR-15s and whatnot, but that was an interesting one. So I don't know what to say on that. I have various opinions because I live with somebody who wants to be a policeman.
I
know that Luke has a lot to say about this.
Go for it, Luke.
So I'm actually gonna.
Are you packing, Luke?
Not on me. It's
No,
in my car.
no.
It's in my car.
And so I'm going to jump in before Luke says anything, because
Go.
I know I think a lot of what Luke is about ready to say I agree with. It makes me sad that there are people out there who voted who did not take the time to read through the gun one and the police officer accountability one. Because to me, if you read through both of those, you would have realized that, oh my gosh, this is going
Morning, Misty.
way too far. And I've tried to explain that to people in my family, and they say, well, you know, they said with the gun regulations, we're gonna have safer schools. I'm like, you heard the buzzword. And then with the police accountability one, they're like, good, we're gonna keep police officers accountable for the crimes that they commit. I'm like,
that's a mental health issue, folks. Come on. Let's
thank you.
figure that
There we
out.
go.
I have
Thank
a
you.
special ed degree. It's a
Jillian.
mental health issue.
Morning.
Good morning, Tabitha. Good morning.
Yeah,
Jillian. So I'm gonna turn it over to you because everything that I would say.
Yeah, I won't get too crazy. I was staunchly against it. I will stand staunchly against it. Rumor has it that lawyers are already gearing up to challenge it in court, and that it really isn't valid. And so my hope is who is against it completely is that it will never get put into action. One of the big things is that initiatives are by law only allowed to address one subject at a time.
Yep.
And it addressed 3 or 4, and it read like a run-on sentence. It was just and there and then, and, you know, and it was just it was really disheartening. It essentially, and we had that conversation. We talked about it. I felt I was disheartened. I
Hey, Leanne.
completely anticipated that it would pass, especially in our state. What irritated me was by how much it passed. I thought no one is reading this.
Yeah,
They're
it's
not
an education
truly
issue.
reading it. And because if they did, they would see that even if you're for stricter gun laws, this was not the way to go. It reclassified weapons that shouldn't be reclassified. Over 90% of, I think it's over 90 or 85% of crimes committed with guns are committed with handguns. This didn't address that. You can still walk into and buy a gun same day, pretty much. Where it created a waiting list for a hunting rifle, and it's like
Nuts.
None of it really made sense. The idea that me, as a responsible gun owner, should have to get a mental health check every year, like, where's the funds for this? Where's the money going to be? I mean, it's just, none of it makes any sense.
But let me jump in on that point for a second,
Yeah.
because if we talk about the breaking news that happened this morning with the shooting down in Thousand Oaks, California.
Don't even get me started. Because here's the deal with that. That guy is a 28-year-old Marine veteran who has served combat.
Yep.
He had a break in the spring. They've already come out and said this. He had a mental break in the spring, PTSD. He's on a freaking wait list to get help from the VA. Meanwhile, he goes and kills 12 people this morning or overnight in Thousand Oaks, and everyone wants to jump on him and say the gun rights. No, that's a mental health issue, and it's not taking care of people who are out fighting for the country.
So what you have to do at a bottom level is we actually host candidates at our house when we don't really know who to vote for, and we ask them some of those questions. And one person that we supported was Deborah Entenman.
Okay.
And one of the reasons was we wanted to know what was she going to do, because Kim has a lot of growing gang violence and violence in general.
Yeah.
My son will not vote for Kim, I hope. Anyway, but I love
Understand?
the Kent,
It's totally
I love
understandable.
the Kent Police Department. They are fabulous. But
They're
they are
rock stars.
They are up
Them in
against.
Lakewood, they are rock stars.
Well, the diversity in Kent is amazing.
Morning,
Okay,
Amy.
so back to the gang thing. So Deborah said, you have to take it back to the community, and right from the start, you have to give kids a place, you have to address mental health, but you have to start mentoring within your community. You have to give kids a different place to go than to the gang. So, you know, I think that's what we can do on a low level is get out there and mentor kids, get out there and support programs that are putting youth in the right places. And that's the only way we're gonna change things that are coming up. It's gonna be tough to tackle what's going on, but the pipeline is very important.
And here's the thing: is if they came to me with an initiative and said, "Hey, we're gonna raise taxes on guns, not astronomically, but we're gonna raise taxes on guns for these programs," guess who's gonna stand in line and go, "Yes, I am on board with this," because you hit it on the head. The gun is just a means of destruction.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
A knife, a bomb. You can learn how to make a bomb on freaking
anywhere. Yeah.
So
3 seconds.
So even if for a second if you outlaw all guns, you're still going to have people that have hate
It's
or
the
have
attitude. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and that's what makes me so mad.
It's not going to stop anything.
No.
They're still going to get their guns.
So it's just I think we all agree we hate the violence that's going on. I mean, we all agree with that. But I think just going after guns,
they're trying to address the symptom and not the root of it.
But as individuals, we can
Melissa.
reach out to communities. I just filled out a form for somebody going to work for there's a new YW or YMCA going up in Kent. And so I was filling out a form for somebody that wanted to work there, and I said, and they said at the bottom, are you willing to work for the YWCA if you have the right skill set? And I did the little star, and I said, you know, I would be willing to come in and teach classes on writing because I believe in youth. I don't teach it, I taught for a while. And that's the only way we're going to change things is if we show them better ways and better outlets. That's what we all have to do, and it sounds like you two are already doing that within your community.
We're trying.
But that's all you can do is you take one kid and you direct them in a different route. One. I mean, if we all took one kid and directed them differently, how great would our world be?
You know, and it really starts at home because I think about my oldest son. When he was a freshman, he was a wreck. And he could have gone down two different paths when he was a freshman. And I had some tough love with him. And I just basically told him, I said, you need to pull your head out. You need to realize you're only a freshman. You have the rest of your life to experience. And if you're going to be like this, you're going to go down a bad path. And
you get one chance at your reputation.
That's right. And right now, my son, he still lives at home with us, but he's saving money. He's paying us rent every month. We're helping him build up his credit because he wants to take that next step as a young adult. And I think a lot of it stems from that talk that we had where I did the same thing kind of my dad did to me was basically, hey kid, pull your head out of your ass.
Get it together.
Exactly. So what did
you
Jimmy
the
say?
other thing that we touched on too is, and that I have a hard time with is that 5-day rule, right? The 5-day, if you report the gun missing within 5 days. And I thought, my first thought on that was like, okay, we have a little bit of time. But then Neil said something to me. He said, you know how often I check my gun? My gun case. My guns are out during hunting season. You know, what if I don't check my gun case for a month or two and I don't know, and then I'm responsible? You know, so a lot of us don't really check our guns every 5 days.
And I'll tell you what we do when we're looking at these. So there's 4 of us that vote, and I have 2 IT guys. One of them reads constantly. We look at who's
Morning, Travis. Morning, Michael.
Morning. Who's endorsing the measures, and the police did not endorse, from what we saw, these measures. And it's like, I'm living with a person who wants to be a police officer, and I have to think, these are the people that are out in the trenches. What do they think about these? Because
and I can tell you right now, I will take the opinion of a police officer on these initiatives over an elected official who's never been in the trenches.
Well, the State Patrol, the Seattle Police, King County Sheriff, the Washington Police Union, all of them came out and said, this is not the way to go.
Well, and on the second one, the one that I consider was more of a mental health issue, where's the money coming from and the time and you know all these things that you have to already go through to become an officer.
Yeah.
But
I almost, and maybe your son would have something to say about this, and I have.
I wanted to bring him, but
yeah, I have one of my best friends is a state patrolman. Another good buddy of mine is a Tacoma police officer. A kid I coached growing up, a basketball player I coached. He's now a Pierce County sheriff, and I've talked to them about it. And I almost wonder if it's not the training as much as sometimes we're not getting the right individuals. I had this discussion with Dion one time, and because Dion, state patrolman, went through a stringent background and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I said, what was your mental health welfare check? Well, it wasn't as stringent as. Okay, so it's not as stringent there. But the other thing is that, and he has told me, he said, I think part of the problem is that they try so hard to get the squeakiest, cleanest individuals. And I've told you this before, that you almost get these people that they're squeaky clean, but they don't have the right mentality to handle that job, that pressure, if they're put into a tight spot.
The other thing is, we're all humans, and nobody really knows what your reaction's going to be when you're put in that position. But the other thing is, they're not beating the doors down to be police. How do we encourage, more people of color, more women, more people with mental health training and background? How do we encourage people to want to be police in the environment that it is right now?
And I think this vote is I think you're going to see a ripple effect that's going to cause less and less qualified candidates to want to apply, because they're not going to feel safe in doing so. And I don't blame them.
Nobody wants to have a lawsuit against him and be fired. And
it's really tough, and I was telling Luke about this before we got started. I was explaining it to my family last night. I said, what if a criminal had a knife, was holding my son and had a knife to his throat, and a police officer there with his gun drawn? Do I, as the father of that child, do I want the police officer to try and de-escalate the issue? Or if he's a great shot, do I want him to put 2 in his head?
Right,
I want to put 2 in his head, because the longer that knife is at my son's throat, the worse chance that something can happen. And the thing is when I hear about some of these people that think they know what's going on, but they've never been in a stressful situation like that, it's like you just said earlier, you don't know how you're going to respond to that.
Well, and I think there are horrible instances where police officers have made a bad choice. But when you look at how many police officers every day across the United States are on the job, and I can't remember what the figure was. One of the Gig Harbor former sheriff or something came out. It's like 300,000, or it's an enormous amount. And you have these isolated instances. We're human. There are going to be screw-ups, but those other 299,000 do not screw up. Right. So, and what my son said is, the bottom line, Mom, is we are there to protect the community.
Yeah.
And I have to protect myself in order to protect the community. And so we've had some really good discussions, because I am not, really pro-gun. I'm just not. I grew up with
But you sound like you're pro-sensible.
Thank you. Dead bloody animals, and that bothered me. But I thank you. And you know what? If you've done something bad, I want you to pay for it. I'm sorry. I am pro. I'm a Libra. It's like fairness is big in my
here's the
personality.
Thing. And I think this explains our state in a nutshell. By the way, there is Jenny Jones, who is following us.
I like the name.
How are you?
Jenny Jones sounds like a news reporter.
Good to see you.
You too.
How you doing?
We'll take a quick break. Jenny's right there. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
So,
Sally, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Jenny found out that they're having a
Girl!
Having a girl.
So excited.
Yeah. You got names picked out yet?
It's a secret.
All right, good. I like it.
Secret
I like
Secret
it. Yeah, good. Love it.
Good to see you.
All right, you too.
Always.
So what I was going to say is this is the problem in our state right now, where they will allow someone to drive who's had 4, 5, or 6 DUIs, and there's no accountability for that. And my thinking is,
Sorry.
you get 1 DUI.
Sally just became pro-gun.
Yeah, you get 1 DUI.
Intentional.
Yeah.
You serve the penalties for that 1 DUI. You get a second DUI, you're done. And I don't mean you're done like we're going to take you out and 2 to the head, but you're done, because you've shown you can't be a responsible person in our society. Right. And when I hear stories about someone got killed because a drunk driver was on his 7th DUI,
Yeah.
Okay, so I have.
Late last year at 9.
Yes.
At 9.
Yeah.
I have really bad shoulders because when I was 14, a drunk hit us. Basically, we were stopped in the middle lane of a 5-lane highway at a light, and he had 4 clear lanes, and he rammed into us going probably 50. And, you know, he had a laundry list of DUIs. This was a long time ago, but the fact is, yeah, that man does not deserve the privilege of driving.
Right.
And my mom sent me his obituary when he died. So,
Oh my God.
it was, you know, but
Vendetta much?
You know, so if there's a state senator or a representative out there that by chance hears our show, or you know somebody that works in
Well, that
Olympia,
kind of goes into my thing about giving the wrong people the chances, right? Remember I told you about the initiative they passed just down in Florida, where felons now, and as long as they checked all the boxes, paid their debt to society, they're now back to being contributing good people, can regain their right to vote, which I think is awesome. Like I have a cousin who I'm close with, and he made some dumb decisions when we were younger. He's 15 years older than me, and got himself. He spent time in prison for drugs and all that stuff. But he's been sober for 25 years. He's cleaned up. He's a great guy. He works with kids and makes toys for kids and all this, but he doesn't have the right to vote. Yet we let things like this, people get chance after chance after chance.
killing people.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just drives me.
maiming and killing people, families.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Yep.
Something like after 30 years, you can screw up again. I concur, except maybe a little time.
something needs to be done.
Yeah, time
Something
limit
needs to be
maybe,
done.
yeah,
And I'll
10
tell you right
years.
now, I will champion that cause.
I will too.
support that. I will support that representative if he brings
Yeah.
it. If he brings it out here, yes,
Yes.
because I'm sick and tired of hearing families destroyed because somebody had 7 DUIs, 9 DUIs, and he just fell through the court system. That's where we have the problem with our society, is people don't care about other people, and that clearly shows that right there.
Yeah. Woo! We could go down a whole rabbit hole on this.
And we're all in agreement. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know anybody
Yeah.
that would not be in agreement unless you have 5 DUIs.
And it's not a
Yeah, the
conservative
guy with
issue.
5
It's not a
DUIs.
liberal
It's not.
issue. It's
No.
a society issue.
It is.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. So
Responsibility.
we've said our piece, and we've done it in a very.
Hey, let's jump on that.
The Girl
let's jump on
Scouts?
that Boy Scout, Girl Scout thing.
Oh my gosh! So have you heard about this?
I just saw it last night on the news, and my son was an Eagle Scout, and I was a Girl Scout.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys have heard about this, you heard about this Boy Scout, Girl Scout thing, give us a thumbs up right now.
If not, let us educate.
Hit the thumbs up. If you haven't heard about it, hit the cry button. Hit the cry button.
Actually, if you have heard about it, you might want to hit the credit.
Yeah, you're gonna want to hit the cry button anyways after we share this story with you.
I'm curious to hear what your opinions are on that, because
Oh,
I haven't
boy.
really.
Good thing I got some.
Well, do you have children in both of those programs, or where do they come from?
I was in Boy Scouts.
No, he was in Boy Scouts. I
Okay.
wanted to be in Boy Scouts when I was younger. I didn't get into it. My boys and my girls, they never were in either. So just for one reason or another, they weren't in it. But let me tell you guys a story real quick. So here's a story.
My opinion goes beyond Boy Scouts, though. I think
Yeah,
it's a
we'll get to
society
that.
thing.
We'll get to that. So
bugs
what
me.
happened is last October, if you didn't hear, the Boy Scouts said they were going to admit girls into the Boy Scouts program because there was so many requests, years and years and years of families
Well, they
saying,
had been threatened.
and,
that
yeah, they
people
were
would
also
sue them
threatened
if
too.
they wouldn't allow girls to join.
Yep, you have to let girls join. And so the Boy Scouts said, sure, we'll do it. Well, just recently, the Girl Scouts national president, Kathy Hoppenka-Hannon, accused the Boy Scouts national president at the time, Randall Stevenson, of carrying out a covert campaign to recruit girls.
She's saying that by them allowing girls in, you're recruiting girls and you're trying to get rid of the Girl Scouts of America, so we're suing you.
Sorry, Girl Scouts, up your game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Lower
Hannon,
the price on cookies.
the Girl Scouts president said, "We are confused as to why, rather than working to appeal to the 90% of boys who are not involved in Boy Scouts of America programs, you would choose to target girls."
Because of societal
Are
pressure.
you kidding me?
Yeah. It's not that hard to figure out.
The Girl Scouts argue that the Boy Scouts' use of certain trademarks is both new and uniquely damaging to the Girl Scouts organization. One of the Boy Scouts programs is called Scouts BSA, Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, Paul's in.
Which caters to boys and girls 11 to 17 years old. The organization also recently launched a campaign called Scout Me In.
Hey, good morning, Charles.
It's the generic use of scouts without a gender marker that the Girl Scouts object to. Good morning, Charles.
Chuck's going to jump in on this. I know he is.
The Girl Scouts are asking the Boy Scouts to stop using standalone terms like scout. Oh, I thought that was a car. Scout or scouting.
Would you push me out of the way, please?
It's happened down there recently. Yeah.
So the Girl Scouts are asking the Boy Scouts to stop using standalone terms like scout or scouting and to train its troops and leadership accordingly. The organization has asked for a jury trial. So basically, in a nutshell, the Girl Scouts are suing the Boy Scouts because the Boy Scouts are allowing girls into the Boy Scouts, and now they're pissed off because Boy Scouts are using terms like scouts and scouting. And the Girl Scouts president can't understand why the Boy Scouts would do this. I may lose my mind if I respond to this.
Breaking news, the Girl Scouts are suing scout snipers in the Marine Corps right now. Where does it stop? Yeah. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, Sally, you go first.
I'll go if you want.
So I was a Girl Scout, and the programs were okay, but I have to say, having a kid that went the police son, all through Boy Scouts, became an Eagle Scout, that is a bomb program. And quite honestly, I grew up...
Charles, yes, get involved in this discussion. We want your opinion.
I can't. Oh, no, please do, Charles. Yeah.
Today, my mom was a Girl Scout leader and a Cub Scout leader, but there are more things in the Boy Scout program, as I know it, that as a tomboy girl, I would have wanted to do. So, I am totally pro-Girl Scout, but maybe that's the issue, is if there aren't enough programs to service the girls that want to go camping or fishing or whatever, maybe they need to up the game. But I'll tell you what a big problem is volunteers, because once again, you have to have leaders to do these, and maybe you do have troops that do things together, so you have enough leaders for all the kids that want to do them.
But maybe they did some crossover stuff, right?
Have group fly fishing or whatever. But I think that's the issue, is so many.
That's exactly what you just said. Step up your game, Girl Scouts.
I don't know. I don't have a daughter, so I don't know what the current Girl Scout program is like. However, I just think you make people want to go to your program, they will. And if the Boy Scouts have done a better job, and maybe there's more money because so many of the presidents have been Eagle Scouts. I don't know if you know that, like 90% or something. But maybe it's a money issue. I'm not sure, but somehow coordinate together and do the things that the girls are missing from their program. That would be. I'm all about equal. Get along.
I think one of my issues with this whole thing, here we go. I think one of my issues with this, and you may or may not agree with this, I don't know, is that I find even in today's day and age, and I have 3 daughters and a son, so I cover both sides of it. And I have this discussion with my daughters all the time, because there's certain things that I'm like, no, go girl, kick ass, like you can do whatever you want. But there's certain things where I have said to them, and they get mad at me, but I'm like, that's a boy thing, or that's a girl thing, and it's not because you can't do it or whatever, but like it's the group thing. So it's we had this discussion that they were mad at me about basketballs. Why is the girls' basketball smaller than the boys' basketball? Well, because scientifically, medically, your hands are smaller on average. Like it's not a discrimination thing. But so we have these discussions. I still find that there is a place for, and an important place for, in society, a place for boys to go hang out with boys and girls to hang out with girls, men to hang out with men and women to hang out with women. And this came up, this was a hot topic 15, 20 years ago with Augusta National Golf Course back in Georgia, where some women were really upset that it was a men's club. And I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I'm all 100% equality. Women have the same rights as men, as they should. Equal pay, equal job, all of it. Yep. But there is still a place, I think, where women should be able to hang out with women without men around if they would like, and men can hang out with men without women around. Perfect example, we have Vi Athletics over here. It's a women's only athletic club. Women's only athletic club. You will not find me out front picketing that place with a lawyer saying I'm going to sue unless I can put on my yoga pants and go in there and do jumping jacks.
So, can I interject a little small thing?
Please.
I think historically, and I worked in a male-dominated industry, and I grew up with brothers. Men have had the money. Men have been able to put the money where they wanted. And so, the Augusta Club and all these things, historically, you've had the power.
Correct.
Men have, because money is power. Power is money. So trying to even these things out is tough because I would think Boy Scouts probably has a heck of a lot more money available to
absolutely.
them
I totally believe that.
to facilitate making their organization better. So once again, how do we dictate that spending equality when there really isn't probably the buy-in from the women or men who are giving amounts of money, because it takes money to run these groups. And you got to think about, there's a big picture there.
And I look at it like this. I look at it like this, like with the NBA and the WNBA. Because I've heard some people say, well, WNBA players should get paid just as much as the male players. And I look at it like this. It's a business.
They're not generating the bucks.
Exactly.
That's a discussion I've had with my girls because they play basketball and they want to understand why. And they say they can't get paid the same because the money's not there.
If they want to change things, they need to make a lot of money,
and that's where
get power and change things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's where we bring it back to the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. One, I think the Boy Scouts should be back to just boys. Because of what Luke said there, you need boys to be able to hang out and do things together. And with the Girl Scouts, I would never want boys to file a lawsuit against the Girl Scouts and say the boys need to be in Girl Scouts. I think what needs to happen is people, parents, need to step up their game. And if you want your girls to be able to do the fishing trips or the camping trips or some of those things, I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome to teach your daughter how to fish. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like when his daughter gets a little bit older, she's probably gonna go on a hunting trip with him.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your gender is. But the thing is
thank you, Charles.
I think they need to have those, I hate to use this word, safe spaces. I think boys need to have that safe space in the Boy Scouts, and I think girls need to have that safe space in the Girl Scouts.
It's part of maturing, but I like the idea of bringing them together also, because
I think that's a great idea.
Then
Do some
you get,
joint events.
Then you get the respect and the how do we treat each other and what do we offer each other is a huge one.
Yeah.
I might be able to tie a better fly than you because I do more things on the small, but you might be able to show me how to cast.
There you go. Yeah.
And until we can get that down, but thank you, Charles, for the distribution of money, because that plays a huge role in any of these opportunities that kids have. So
I think that I understand their the money, obviously, and creating that equal opportunity. I just sometimes wonder if, it's the pendulum, right? We try sort of change things, that we push the pendulum right past sensible into this other realm, and it's like, okay, now we need to. Okay, let's bring it back in.
Buy those cookies.
Yeah, exactly. And
I was absolutely stunned when I read this article, because it made me go, okay. When the news came out last October that they were letting girls into the Boy Scouts, I was never in the Boy Scouts, but I thought to myself, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's the Boy Scouts. And now to hear the president of the Girl Scouts say, I don't know why the Boy Scouts did this. Seriously?
They didn't really have a choice with the way pressure is.
Right.
Some of the same lessons.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the money, it really does boil down to us parents. And if this might sound wrong, but if the Girl Scouts want to do these things, they're going to have to push a little bit harder. We can't just say, oh, you know what? Here, the Boy Scouts are going to give you some money. No, you're going to have to push harder. And it doesn't have to be cookies. I mean, it could be
selling sports equipment.
Car washes, getting out there and picking up trash. I mean, there's so many different things. I hate it when I hear people say, well, in this particular instance, let's just say someone says, well, the Boy Scouts ought to be giving the Girl Scouts. I'm like, no. I think the people that donate money, that's who you need to talk to.
Well, the community leaders also, and big entities, Sports Authority and some of those, if you're going to up your program, get people behind you that support what you want to do.
That's where the financial equality should be.
If they're donating to one, they should donate to the other.
Right.
We've just solved the problem.
Done. Our work here is done. Yeah, I mean, it brings up the whole thing, right? Boys will be boys, girls will be girls, which is a huge thing in our society right now. As far as, I got a friend. She has her son wear the shirt that says "boys will be," and it says "boys," and it's like crossed out, just responsible human beings.
I like it.
I like it, and I tell her that I like it to a point, but boys also have to be boys, and girls have to be girls.
They're gonna go like this, and
I'm
sorry.
It's just the way. I mean, I have a son. He's 2. And raising him so far has been a night and day difference than my 3 daughters that are in front of him. And I think even more since I've had Maverick, my boy, it's you know what, boys will be boys sometimes, and girls will be girls sometimes. And I have a daughter now, my oldest is in junior high over here, and I see some of the things that her and her friends, the way girls interact with each other as compared to the boys. I'm like, you know what? Girls will be girls and boys will be boys, and
there are different spectrums on that scale too.
Yeah.
You get the girly girls and you get the macho boys, and
and
we need to learn
my
to
daughters
get
are
along with
tomboys,
each other.
and they're athletes, and
see, and your daughters, they're tomboys, but they can also be girly girls too. I've seen that.
Yeah.
So
and men can learn to cook. I mean, there's
it's
like it goes both ways.
I want my son to learn more than just hitting a microwave.
Those are skills.
And I like what Jillian said. I don't see why the Girl Scouts can't adopt some of the same lessons into their programs. Girls don't want to just learn how to knit and sew anymore. Girl Scouts need to evolve. One of the biggest, you can tell us, Luke, because every time I hit the button, it like messes
Charles
stuff
says one of the biggest and most detrimental changes to our modern culture is parenting, with both parents working out of necessity. Children who don't have a family structure become educated, emotionally stable members of society. Part of this issue is the equality issue and not equal rights. The problem with the equality issue is that it has evolved into a I want everything you have mentality, but I digress.
Well, what a big thing is, if you have skills, mentor somebody.
Yeah.
Whatever your skill is, figure out a way to mentor. I'm not the best writer out there, but I actually write a column every month for a new website, and I'm getting a lot of hits on it. And I actually just wrote to him and I said, if the Hokieometer is going over, let me know. And they're like, no, we really like what you're writing, because I'm older. These are 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, and I'm well past that. But we all have to share what we know, and if we're not willing to do that, why bother?
Well, it's just, I'm glad you hit on that. I think that we all have gifts, right? And not, it reminds me, like you talking about the writing. So my degree is in writing. I have a fiction writing degree from Pacific Lutheran University. Yeah, and I write a lot, and I consider myself, better than average bear. At least I'm putting sentences together. And like Sellers, Steven Sellers, our good buddy, he needs to put together. Joey, good to see you this morning, buddy. We're coming to your shop in a couple weeks. I'm helping him do his resume. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I probably did 100 resumes for guys who were getting out. They'd come to me and I'm like, I'm good at writing resumes, you're not. Send me your information, I'll help you put it together.
Absolutely.
And I'd sit there and go over with them why. And I'd send them the template. Here's your template. You're going to go off in the world and not know me anymore. Let me help you be successful. And I just did that because I thought it was the right thing to do. Right?
Yeah.
And I think more people, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, I'm just saying that's my example, because that's what that's as a society we need to do that, right? I mean, we need to, some people are, if you weave better baskets and you weave the basket for me so I can put the fish in it.
You can talk about the owner of Anthem.
Brian. Yeah.
So Brian had a barista that used to work here, and the barista decided to go out on his own and open up his own thing. And Brian,
a barista.
Brian was encouraging him, was out there in public, was doing video things and everything, saying, come see my buddy, and that, to me, that is huge. That's positive.
And it shines the light on him.
Yep.
I'm a good person. I don't need
There's plenty of coffee to go around.
Yeah, especially around here.
Hey, good morning, Philip.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the way. I think we should all, perfect example right here. We have two writers in here, both in the same genre, and they're here supporting each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's great. That's great.
Very supportive group.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll put a little ribbon on the Girl Scouts thing, and then we'll get to Sally here. So how do you think this is going to end?
In court in 5 years.
I don't.
What a nightmare.
I don't think it looks good on the Girl Scouts of America.
It's not shining a good light on them. They should embrace what can we do better.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be.
Right.
What can I do better?
And you almost need the leadership in there to someone needs to step up and say, hey,
this isn't good.
Why don't one of you do it?
No.
You have daughters.
I know. Well, so I have a question then, and because it's funny because we brought this topic up last night, and then I was at Karen's this morning. Karen and her kids, and Lucy, her youngest daughter, is in Girl Scouts, and Diego, her son, is in Boy Scouts. Karen, what are you seeing?
I know my buddy Marty.
Oh, okay. Karen is a Boy Scout leader, but not a Girl Scout leader. And so I'm like, why are you a Girl Scout leader but you're a Boy Scout leader? She's like, because I'm really good at, well, there you go.
Go ahead.
He says, well, see you later.
Enjoy the show, guys.
Yeah. But he says, she's like, I grew up hiking and fishing and camping, the things that the Boy Scouts do.